Living Local Carolina with Katie Turner. Local trends, shopping, dining, and more. This is Living Local Carolina.
Well, today we're talking about a very important topic. I'm joined by Simon and Cindy from Carolina Forest Elementary School. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good.
Great.
Wonderful. Now, you both work in education, but you also are co-authors of a book. Tell me about this book.
Okay, so this book is Adapting Behavior Practices, Reframing Your Approach to Discipline. And we, for the past 5 years, the two of us have been working together with behavior a lot. And so we just realized that getting to the root of the behavior helps tremendously, and it helps the kids not to repeat the same behavior. So we kind of came together and just thought of ways to help the kid to change the behavior.
So
Right.
who is this book for?
This book is for parents and teachers, and really for adults, because everybody gets frustrated when it comes to behavior, and they wonder, what are we going to do? And even for me as a parent, it's helpful because we tend to work with our own kids a little differently than we work with other people's kids. So, the being consistent and putting these things into practices, it's difficult because it's time consuming, but the consistency is what wins in the long run.
So can you give me some examples maybe that are in the book without spoiling too much?
Like Cindy said, a lot of kids, and I'm sure many people out here listening and yourselves can remember, when kids would come get in trouble at school, and they would get in trouble for the same things over and over and over again. So, like the front of the book shows there, some roots in the ground and a child being like a plant. When something goes wrong with your crops, you got to figure out what's wrong in the dirt, not what's on top. So once you get to that root, and it does take time, because as we say in there, it takes them a long time to get that way. It takes a long time to get them out. And gaining that trust with us or whoever they work with is the first step in getting to the root of that problem.
Yeah, and I would say definitely building the relationship. Relationships are everything. When you get the relationships with these kids, we've had a lot of kids that, just came from tough situations. And the two of us, we just team up and kind of become that safe space for them.
Right.
And they know it, and then it just helps.
Well, tell me also, for parents and other teachers who have read the book, what has been the response?
Well, for some who kind of been in education for a long time, it's like a new thing for them. It's almost like they're having to retrain their thinking and their brain. And, and I say all the time, like, this is just a new generation of kids. Like, you can't do the same thing that you did a long time ago to reach this generation, because they have so many other things coming up against them, like social media. And they just carry a lot. And so you just have to approach it a different way.
Yeah.
So.
Because everybody, wants to see old school, though.
Right.
Our grandparents' old school was a lot different than our old school, so there's always a new school coming. So we just need to adapt to that new school a little bit faster.
Right.
If we're going to be successful with our kids, and that's a hard thing for some teachers. If we can help them understand this practice, in the long run, it's going to be a smoother classroom. Their scores will be better because we're really, we like scores, but without those relationships, those scores really don't matter.
Now, Cindy, do you have another book as well?
I do. This is actually my third children's book. I'm always trying to write, because I am a counselor, giving kids tools that they can use when I'm not there, and so this book is Same Love, Different Homes, and it is about kids that are in divorce situations. And so I think out of all the books, like, this was the one that I could connect to the most, because I was that kid. And so when I wrote it, it was really rewarding for me as well. So, yeah.
So if anybody's interested in purchasing one of your books, where can they find these?
They can find them on Amazon. They're both on Amazon.
We'll be back right after this break with more Living Local Carolina.
Great to be here with you today and share something that is very important to us, and that's Project Golf. I'm Gary Shaw, and I want to share with you some enthusiasm I've got for the program since I was here with it when it started in 2018. We were a nonprofit given birth by our parent company, Golf Tourism Solutions, which has been driving golf in Myrtle Beach for 5 or 6 decades. And they looked up a couple years ago and said, we are bringing a lot of people into Myrtle Beach. We call ourselves the golf capital of the world. From the Rust Belt all the way up into New England, out west, people are coming to Myrtle Beach. But they said, just a minute, we've kind of ignored this exploding metropolis of Myrtle Beach of residents, locals. So they said, why don't we let's find somebody that can run this nonprofit. We want to bring the game to our disabled veterans, our underserved youth, and the beginners. So we'll grow the game. And we'll take the game to these golfers. We'll try to remove barriers that are in the way of their playing. And the biggest one was access and instruction. So we started with our beginners, and then we morphed into working with a disabled veteran under a program subsidized by the PGA of America called PGA Hope. Hope is an acronym standing for Helping Our Patriots Everywhere. I was asked to start it up because I somewhat fit the mold. I'm a veteran and a PGA member, and I served as the PGA's president for a term back in the 90s. So we got started off, and we found out the VA was very cooperative. They were pipelining all the veterans to us, and in no time at all, our classes became full. We can teach about 20, 22 veterans at a time, men and women, all with disabilities, some passive, some very visible. And we feel like we're doing some good, and we're getting these veterans back into society, and they're doing a good job of engaging with other veterans to play golf. And we're finding the same thing with the beginners. And we haven't quite developed a full-fledged junior program, but we know that's going to be the case, where we'll remove barriers to their getting into the game. And the PGA told us when we started PGA Hope, if you're anything like the other chapters around the country, you're going to save lives. And I thought to myself, as the executive director, that's a bit of a stretch. How do you save lives through golf? And after these 5 years now, Angel and I will agree that we are saving lives. We hear it from the veterans, we hear it from the veteran spouse, and we hear it from the veteran's family. So it's a great program. They're telling us how much at the end of the classes when they graduate after 6 weeks, what value it has to them, and that value is engagement with family and community. So we feel real good about it. And I would throw in on the statistics and metrics from the PGA of America is that there are about 160 chapters in the country, and the Carolinas leads the country in registrations and graduations, and Myrtle Beach leads the Carolinas. So we're real happy about the visibility we've received. And as a nonprofit, of course, our goal is to seek funding. So that's our next real initiative, is to turn up the heat on getting donations.
So as Gary was saying, the impact that we're making on our community is huge. We're creating a community of golfers, and our golfers are overcoming obstacles, improving their social, mental, and physical well-being. You know, with 22 veterans committing suicide each day, golf has changed their life, and in some cases, it's saved their lives. You know, some of them struggle 7 days a week, but for those 2 hours a day, they're coming out here and they're not thinking about those struggles.